Jim Hoops. E-N-T.
Avengers Infinity War is, if nothing else, a brilliantly crafted film. The build-up to this film was outrageous. 18 interconnected films that led to the intertwining of characters and events that built up a small army of characters that all wanted to save the world and galaxy. While the connection was weak at times,
I'm trying to keep you from tearing the Avengers apart. You did that when you signed.
the one thing that connected all of these films was Infinity Stones and Thanos attempting to collect all of them. But the sheer brilliance of the storytelling is that all these characters are built up as heroes in the first 18 films, with Thanos being perceived as the villain. But all of that gets flipped upside down in Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos ends up being the hero. Because when you think about it, Thanos did nothing wrong. Now, don't go coming at me with pitchforks. I'm not saying the guy is perfect. He isn't known for saying please and is horrible with sending out thank you cards. But the guy more than makes up for it by saving the universe. So we can all cut the guy a bit of slack for not doing the small things. Now, the heroism of Thanos, ironically, is death. When people initially hear about death, they don't like it. And of course, on a personal level, death sucks. There are two reasons people don't like death. It either involves you not living, which doesn't sound too fun, or it involves someone else not living, which is usually not an ideal circumstance either. But on the other hand, and as Thanos puts it,
"Little one, it's a simple calculus. This universe is finite, its resources finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correction."
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that.
and if a fictional character isn't enough proof for you, then there is the economic law of diminishing returns. Diminishing returns is the idea that efficiency can only be maximized until things become inefficient. And if we look at the universe and its resources, then there's a certain point where these resources cannot efficiently maintain a healthy quality of life. No one is saying that Thanos took this decision and responsibility lightly. He isn't the hero that the universe wants, but he is the hero that the universe needs.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
Heck, the guy is a literal scientist. He did some trials to test things out beforehand.
We were happy on my home planet.
Going to bed hungry, scrounging for scraps. Your planet was on the brink of collapse. I'm the one who stopped that. Do you know what's happened since then? The children born have known nothing but full bellies and clear skies. It's a paradise.
Because you murdered half the planet.
A small price to pay for salvation.
You only have to look at human history to see how death leads to more life. No one is happy that World War II took place. If any of us could go back and stop it, we would. Over 60 million people died. But the data doesn't make it sound so bad. Look at the USSR. This nation suffered an estimated 20 million casualties, over 11% of its population. 1/3 of all casualties of the war were from this one country. But after the war, the USSR became the second nation to develop nuclear weapons. With the exception of walking on the moon, the USSR was the first to do just about everything in space. It was the first nation to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile, the first nation to launch a satellite, first nation to send an animal into space, first nation to make contact with a celestial body, the moon, the first nation to photograph the dark side of the moon. The Soviet firsts do not end there. It was the first nation to send a man into space, first nation to send a woman into space. It also built up the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons in the world, and maintained itself as the largest nation on the planet. It is unlikely that this would have happened with over 20 million people leeching off the already limited resources of the nation. And let's look at other nations since World War II. Germany lost a total of 8% of its population during the war, and Japan lost over 4% of its population during the war. And after World War II, China went through what was called the Great Leap Forward, in which at least 45 million people died, with some estimates saying it is closer to 100 million people. These senseless and reprehensible losses of life cannot be excused. But fast forward to today. These three nations are global powerhouses. Since 1995, Japan, Germany, and China have all been in the top 10 nations based on GDP. Since 2005, they have all been in the top 5. And not to forget about Russia, the successor to the Soviet Union, it has been in the top 10 in 2010, 2015, and projections for 2020. Hot damn! Thanos is so right. So math aside, there's more to Thanos being an undisputed hero. Part of him having the moral high ground is that his opponents are corrupt. Look no further than Captain America. For starters, the guy is a massive liar.
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
But by the end of the events of Age of Ultron, he has amassed an on-screen kill count of 14,089. And I just don't know what is worse. Is it that he is a nationalist that fights for America and not the world, or that as an American, he doesn't do much fighting in America? I get the fact that he was fighting for America by fighting Nazis in Europe, and then defends New York when the Avengers first assemble, but he then leaves America defenseless to fight against profanity in Sokovia.
Shit! Language!
Leaves America again to fight in Sokovia, leaves America to fight Tony Stark in Russia, and leaves America defenseless again to fight in Wakanda. Also, it strikes me as a bit un-American to single-handedly destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, and, I don't know, he just abandons America to live in Europe, as is seen at the beginning of Infinity War. Also, not to nitpick, but his uniform is not a representation of the American flag, but the flag of Puerto Rico. Is there anything wrong with representing Puerto Rico? Of course not. But is there something wrong with a white-bread, blonde-haired European being a representative for Puerto Rico? As they say in San Juan, si, senor. Another less than heroic hero is the Black Panther. Besides getting his powers from self-administered drugs that are not FDA approved, this guy talks a big game at the end of his movie about spreading the technology of Wakanda to the world.
We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe.
But as can be clearly seen by Wakanda being the only nation with frickin' force fields, he is an unrighteous liar as well. Also, he is a monarch, which makes him an enemy to all lovers of freedom and democracy. But most of all, this guy has no loyalty. Well, he is a self-righteous prick that is loyal to himself and the country that blindly keeps him in power, but beyond that, he lacks loyalty. The Winter Soldier kills his father in front of him. He also knows that the Winter Soldier killed countless other people. He then goes and rewards the Winter Soldier with a brand new mechanical arm. Not exactly the best form of vengeance if you ask me. And when his country is being invaded, he decides the use of war rhinos and aircraft are not the best weapons and opts for only using foot soldiers. Also, his country is clearly not a well-guarded secret because anyone that knows anything about genetics knows this guy is not 100% Wakandan.
Wakanda forever!
So epic fail on the global secrecy thing. On a side note, the Black Panther murdered his cousin, who legally and without bloodshed became the leader of Wakanda. Hashtag family values. I realize your time is valuable. There is no need to go on long tangents of why each of the Avengers and some of their associates are not actually heroes. So here they are explained in lightning round fashion. Winter Soldier, persistent flatulence. Tony Stark, mama's boy.
This isn't gonna change what happened. I don't care. He killed my mom.
Thor, small package. There's definitely no thunder down under if you get what I'm saying. Hulk, failure to use a seatbelt. Black Widow, public displays of affection and oral plundering of a war hero.
Kiss me.
What?
Public displays of affection make people very uncomfortable.
Yes, they do.
Doctor Strange. Not respecting other cultures.
What's this, my mantra?
The Wi-Fi password. We're not savages.
James Rhodey Rhodes, the Iron Patriot. Shape-shifting. Vision. Being a nerd.
Both sides. I have an equation. In the 8 years since Mr. Stark announced himself as Iron Man, the number of known enhanced persons has grown exponentially. And during the same period, the number of potentially world-ending events has risen at a commensurate rate. I'm saying there may be a causality. Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict.
Wong. Poor sense of humor.
Yeah, you know, you really should have stolen the whole book because the warnings come after the spells.
Oh, it's funny.
Winter Soldier. Persistent flatulence. Rocket Raccoon. Fat shaming.
I'm muscular.
But who are you kidding, Quill? You're one sandwich away from fat.
Yeah.
Gamora. Inability to bounce. Winter Soldier. Persistent flatulence. Groot. Public nudity and profanity.
Groot, put that thing away. Now, I don't want to tell you again.
Groot.
I am Groot.
Whoa!
Hey!
You got some acorns on you, kid.
Peter Quill. Inappropriate use of a finger.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
Spider-Man. Being an only child with a bunk bed. Ant-Man. Sexual assault of a war hero. Winter Soldier. Persistent flatulence.
Where'd he go?
Steve?
Shuri. Refusal to make me her human toilet.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix. This is going to be fun.
M'Baku. Crimes against fashion.
Silence!
Ned. Crimes against buffets. Hawkeye. Being a bow and arrow bitch.
Look, I just need to know because the city is flying. Okay, look, the city is flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
Winter Soldier. Persistent flatulence. So there you have it. Thanos is the real hero. He was honest and forthright to the point all the way. He preserved the future of the universe as proven by math and history, as well as put the less than moral Avengers and their associates in their place.